Hi, welcome to the first episode of a new podcast I'm calling the Linux Shelter. It's basically Linux stuff, a lot of Linux stuff, Android, Microsoft, Apple, but we're going to focus mostly on Linux. First story that we're going to do is the Pirate Bay being raided and taken down, which I personally think sucks. Because I know a lot of Linux distributions use torrents to distribute their ISOs and their images, and I think it sucks. I run Simplicity Linux. It's a distro. We don't use torrents to distribute, but I know you've got projects like Ubuntu. They use torrents. It sucks. The French have been blocking it since last week. The UK have been blocking it for at least a year, I think, and it sucks. Google removed apps that block the restrictions, so you could use your tablet to get around geo-restriction, but now no, unless you get it from a third-party place and you disable the trusted option for downloading, and I'm making this sound so good. There's an option, you probably know it, in Android where you can use third-party APKs, and so I guess if you want to use anything that gets around geo-restriction, because I'm guessing that Google are probably going to remove all the geo-restriction workarounds. So yeah, that really sucks. There's rumours flying around that the Pirate Bay got closed down because it had the films on it. I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. And they had a lot of Sony stuff before. You could get PlayStation 3 games on there. You could get movies that Sony Pictures have made before, so I'm not so sure that it's because of the Sony hack. And ISO Hunt have resurrected the whole database and are hosting it, which is very cool. But I really don't think that ISO Hunt have quite the name that the Pirate Bay do. I've got friends that aren't particularly computer savvy, and they know the Pirate Bay, but they don't know ISO Hunt. So, yeah, it's cool that ISO Hunt have resurrected it so that it's searchable, but I'm not so sure it's actually going to really affect too many people with the resurrection. I think a lot of people still won't be able to find it, and we tech savvy people, we will be able to find it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Next story, apparently Sony was hacked in February and kept quiet, which I think is hilarious, following the first story, which may have been that the Pirate Bay closed because Sony got hacked, which is awesome. It's not awesome that it got shut. So Sony got hacked in February, according to leaked memos which came out recently, and they didn't tell anyone because they weren't required to, because it was a a Brazilian server that got hacked, and under Brazilian law they don't have to tell anyone, so they decided not to, which is fun. The best part is, allegedly, they had employee social security numbers and passwords hacked, and these were distributed everywhere on the internet, if you knew where to look. But Sony also said they weren't going to tell their employees that they'd been hacked, it just seems like a dick move to me. I don't see why you would do that. You're not going to get any trust from your employees, really, are you? If their social security numbers get put out on the internet and the management level people go, nah, let's not tell them. Let them find out when their social security number gets abused. Okay, had a small technical glitch there. I'm not sure what happened, but we're back. It's not known whether it was Guardians of Peace that did the recent hack, or if it was someone completely different, unrelated to them. But yeah, their Spirit World network got hacked, which is, as far as I can tell, it's a network that is like global, and they use it to send document files, all of this. Kind of like a global Dropbox that all Sony employees can use. And apparently malware got installed, and yeah, it got hacked. So, and they decided not to tell anyone, which is ridiculous, if you ask me. Okay, next up, HP are going to release a revolutionary new operating system in 2015, which they've decided to call Linux++, because there won't be any confusing issues there, will there? No. Apparently they're building a new server called The Machine, which is a kind of a sucky name. The Machine. It sounds like a really awful wrestler from the 80s. Yeah. Maybe someone that Rocky will face in the Rocky 92. But yeah. So they are building this. The server sounds frankly awesome. It's going to use memristors, which will store data, kind of like RAM, but when you power off your machine, the data will still be there, which I think is very, very cool. I mean, if you could build them big enough, you would never need another hard disk, which is really cool. And apparently the components won't be connected using they will be connected using fiber optics, sorry. They won't be connected using traditional copper wires, which is definitely going to be interesting. I would love to see how a laptop based on that would work. Getting bangs and bumps, and I know my laptop in its laptop bag gets knocked all the time. And if you're going to connect everything with glass tubes, that's definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, so apparently Linux Plus will be built from scratch, and they will have an operating easy for me to say, an operating system called Carbon. And apparently with all the new tech, it will be 6 times more powerful, using 1.5% of the power, and be 10% of the size of a conventional server. And that's why Google is interested. Although I really do think that Google should keep on building their own server farms, because I think that's a really cool idea. And I think that Google building their own server farms out of PCs that they just stick together and stick it in the farm, I think that's cool. I do. I really, really do. Next up, the European Commission has updated its open source policy, which is actually pretty good news if you're a Linux developer, because they will now consider open source software as well as proprietary software when they're thinking about purchasing software, which is awesome. And apparently, if the contract is going outside of the European Commission, they will give priority to open source software, which is really cool. I mean, if you're an open source software developer, that is definitely sounding like good news. And if it's a tender that goes outside of the European Commission, basically going to get given priority over Apple and Microsoft, which is really cool. I think it's a good thing. I know there's people who are going to say it's a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. I really do. And it's not going to herald the dawn of the European Commission's official Linux desktop, because they've said that that's kind of on hold. But I think it's cool. I really think that a big body like the European Commission getting behind Linux, it can't be a bad thing. We'll have to see where it goes, but I think it could be a cool thing. Next up, Google is going to embrace open documents more. Chris DeBonner has said that They haven't been keeping up with open standards on, I'm guessing, things like open. Things like Google Docs. You can tell this is my first podcast, or vlog, or whatever you want to call it. This is going out on YouTube, and we're also going to make an audio version that you can download, and it's going to have stuff. We're going to work it all out. By episode 2, flawless. Yeah. So Chris DeBonner has said that he is going to... I will start that again. Google. Chris DeBonner has said that Google is going to work more towards open standards, which I'm guessing is going to come in things like Google Docs, that you'll be able to export in a more current Google Docs. Oh, God. Cannot talk today. Not good for a podcast. Yeah, you'll be able to export in open document formats. Yes, I do actually know what I'm talking about a little bit. This much. Yeah, I think that's cool too. I think Google should be supporting open source more. I don't think Google support open source enough. Not anywhere near enough, to be honest. But any help is good. We know this in the open source community. Any help is good. And apparently it's really going to help out businesses and governments that use ODF. Because I'm guessing if you are running a Linux desktop, you're going to be running OpenOffice or LibreOffice, which uses ODF. And, you know, if someone at home wants to create a document on Google Docs, or they want to create it on their tablet, God forbid, maybe they have a Surface, maybe they have more money than sense, or maybe they have a Chromebook. You would hope, maybe, possibly, that governments and businesses would give their employees Chromebooks. I mean, they're fucking cheap. They look good. They seem to do the job from what I hear. So yeah, it's never going to be a gaming rig, but, you know, for doing some... a little bit of word processing, I'm sure it's great. Okay, so next up, the US Marine Corps have switched from Windows XP to Linux for their radar systems. This is awesome. I really think this is amazing. That the US Marine Corps were using Windows XP to run their radars. Wow. I mean, just wow. And obviously you don't want it to run Vista, and you definitely don't want it to run Windows 7 because that's a resource hog. I have limited experience with Windows 8. I have it on this laptop here. I dual boot Windows 8 and Lubuntu. I love Lubuntu. I was really, and that's my watch. No, I really hate Windows 8. It is god awful. Truly it is. So yeah, why not switch to Linux? I mean, come on. We all know that Linux uses way less resources on a machine than Windows ever could. I mean, even if you're running XP, I mean, unless you're running something like KDE, which I somehow doubt you are going to run KDE to run a radar system. I mean, you could run something like Ubuntu server. You know, something command line, fast, efficient. Why not? Why the hell not? Okay, so now we're going to move on to Android news. And in episode 2 we will actually have buffers. Because we will get our shit together for episode 2. Okay, so first up, the Lamborghini Touray 88. It's a $6,000, yes, you heard me correctly, $6,000 Android phone. It has a 5-inch 1080p screen. It has a Snapdragon 801 processor, which is a damn good processor from what I can tell. It seems very good. It's got 3 gig of RAM, 64 gig storage, and a micro SD slot, and a 20 megapixel rear facing camera and an 8 megapixel front facing camera. I would think that the people that are going to buy this are going to be your kind of hipster with a lot of money that is going to want to take a lot of selfies. I would have stuck the 20 megapixel camera in the front. I'm sorry, I would. And if I've upset hipsters, I don't care. Really, truly, I don't. I work with hipsters. They are annoying. God love them. And also, for your $6,000, you will get Android KitKat 4.4. You're not even getting Lollipop. It may be an over-the-air update, but yeah. Wow. I mean, you will basically have budget-end laptop specs in your phone, in your pocket. And it is made of steel and hand-stitched leather. So like the frame, I've seen photos of it. From the front it looks nice. From the back it looks like Frankenstein's monster. I mean, you've got... Let me try to describe it to you. I will find photos and I will put them in a link to the photos in the description and in the show notes. But yeah, it is horrible from the back. I mean, it looks like it's been in a car crash and put together by a stoned med student. That is the best way I can describe it. A stoned med student that only had like yarn to do the stitches with. It is awful. Really. And the front of it looks great. I mean, it looks like a fantastic phone. But that's $6,000 for a phone. Seriously. And we are going to be talking about even more ridiculously expensive gadgets a little later on. This is not the most ridiculous thing I found this week. Okay, so we're being plagued with technical problems today. For some reason, my microphone keeps switching off, which again is not good when you are recording a podcast. Kind of the thing that you want to keep working. But at least the software is telling me that the microphone's not working and stopping recording. So, yeah. Well, we have ups, we will get around them. These are the things that we learn in the adventures of podcasting. Right, so, next up in Android news. Game of Thrones Adventure has been released for Android. It will feature a new house created specifically for the game. It is going to be very violent. It is going to be very sexy, apparently. Lots of sex, lots of violence. Very Game of Thrones. That's for quite some time. So, yeah. What do I think of this? I have never read a Game of Thrones book. I have never seen Game of Thrones. I know this is terrible being a geek. Specifically being a Linux geek, because I know that we are considered the geekiest of the geeky. But yeah, I know. I keep meaning to get around to it, but I think it's on season 5. I'm sure people will correct me on this, but yeah, which seems a lot of seasons to catch up on. I haven't even watched Breaking Bad yet. I've watched like 4 episodes, I think. But, yeah. We will see. Personally, I think anything that has Game of Thrones there is going to be popular. It's going to sell. You know it is. Okay, next. Android users are going to get free access to Hulu for the holidays. This, I think, is particularly cool. And I'm going to be seeing if I can get it. Apparently... I don't use Hulu. I don't. I watch a lot of British TV. Being in Britain, it's funny that. But yeah, and I have a PVR, I record stuff. So, but yeah, I can see myself spending a lot of time in bed over Christmas. You know how it is. Relatives, visitors. No. So yeah, in bed with a tablet. Yeah, Apparently, if you want Android access to Hulu, you need Hulu Plus, but you will get it for free during December. Sounds cool. We'll check it out. And apparently there is a rumour circulating that if you want anything more than the most recent episodes, you will still need to buy Hulu Plus. Why? Why? Give us a taste. Get us addicted. Come on. Okay, next up. Google's Chromecast is still dominating the streaming media market. Apparently it's outselling Roku for the Kindle Fire plug-in box thingy, which I am kind of... I don't know. And it's also outselling the Apple TV, which surprised the hell out of me. Because I can't... I'm going to bash Hipsters again. I'm so sorry. I really am. But it's got to happen. I cannot imagine Hipsters hooking their TV up for streaming stuff from their iMac or whatever the hell it is, their iPad, to their TV with anything that doesn't have with a byte out of it as the logo. And I really can't imagine Hipsters using anything Google branded to stream stuff to their TVs. I mean, Google's too mainstream, it's too cool. It's not Apple enough. Apparently, the fact that the Chromecast is tiny and you can stick it in your pocket, that it's really easy to use, that it's really easy to set up and sync, and it's got more functionality, people love that. I have used the Chromecast like once. My wife has a Chromecast and she loves it, she uses it all the time. I'm not sold on it. I'm not. I mean, I've said it before, I'm old school geek. Let me plug my laptop straight into the TV. It's why I have an HDMI socket on my laptop. And from what I've seen, it is horribly laggy. I mean, we tried to stream a YouTube video to the TV. It was awful. We ended up plugging a laptop into the TV. It worked. It was great. Or for YouTube crap like this, we have the PS3. We have the PS3, we have Now TV, which if you aren't in the UK, it's... We have Sky Movies, they have all the latest, coolest movies. And Now TV lets you access that library of cool movies, new movies, old movies. It's kind of like Netflix, but really up to date. I mean, like a month ago they had The Wolf of Wall Street. And this week they've got... What have they got? I can't remember, I was really impressed though. It was something new. They've got Frozen over Christmas. You know I'm going to be watching it. I've never seen it. I'm not a Disney diehard. But I just feel I am the only person in the world who has not seen Frozen, so I'll watch it. Let it go, let it go. No more singing from me. I'm very sorry about that. So yeah. And now on to Windows news and Microsoft news. And ridiculously, Microsoft have released a raft of apps for Android, which sound horrible. Ugh. We've got MSN Food and Drink, which will give you food and drink recipes. You've got MSN Health and Fitness, which apparently on iOS will go into the health center or health kit. That sounds cooler. Sorry, but it does. MSN Money, which will give you stock quotes and news, which, I don't have stocks. I don't care. I'm sorry. You've got MSN News, which has breaking headlines. So that makes it completely different from Google News. which I have as a bookmark on my phone, because that's really handy to just open up Chrome and go. And MSN Sports, which will give you the scores and schedules. And if it's like most sports things, it will suck in the UK. Sorry, but it does. There is also MSN Weather, which hilariously does not have a widget on Android. Yay! So why would I open that when Google now will tell me the weather? And it has a widget. Actually, Google now has a dedicated pane on my phone, because it's that useful. Sorry. Okay, and now something I think is awesome as a Linux developer, as a Linux user, as someone that is constantly having to justify why I use Linux to so many people. The features, I think it's 10 features? Yes. Sorry for shaking the camera. 10 features that Windows 10 uses. Oh, Windows. Yes. I know my stuff. I will be better on episode 2. You should probably just stop watching this now. The 10 features that users want to see in Windows 10, or the ones they're most excited about. And they're all already available in Linux. Could have told you that. Okay, the ability to label each desktop, which would help distinguish between them. Had that for years. One user said they would love to see a completely modern UI with a flat design for everything in desktop. Had that for years. KDE. KDE is awesome. Personally, I like LXDE for personal reasons. KDE is cool. KDE is what I use to show people who think Windows is the best thing ever. And then I show them KDE. Animated wallpapers or video as wallpapers. I don't get that. I don't understand why you would want that. It looks cool. It is a hell of a resource hog. Don't believe me? Have your phone brightness to normal and set an animated wallpaper on your phone and see how long your battery lasts. I guarantee you will be charging it by the middle of the day. It's the weird one for me. 4K screens are here, but all background pics are low resolution. So download higher res pictures. Add a guess. New theme options with the option of live wallpapers, which is kind of animated wallpapers. But I get the theme thing. I really do. I understand that. And it's one thing I love about Linux is that you get bored of a theme, or the pre-installed theme looks horrible, just change the theme. I don't know if you can do that in Windows. I don't know if that's, and like I said, Windows 8 is horrible. It is truly vile. It is the work of the devil. And so fucking slow. The ability to add tiles to the desktop, like gadgets in Windows 7. It was definitely in Vista. Yeah. Conky. Or are they not called gadget? Plasmoids or plasmalets or plasma in KDE. Again, KDE. Windows users, try KDE. It's awesome. Download Kubuntu. Kubuntu is amazing. Love Kubuntu. Bring back Windows gadgets. Again, conky. Or plasma objects. They're amazing. I use them all the time on KDE. I fiddle with KDE, and it's great. Even old KDE is good. I don't know what a Windows Glass theme is. I'm really sorry about that. But I honestly do not give a flying shit about Microsoft stuff. And I'm one of these Linux geeks that my wife will tell me, "Oh my god, they're bringing this! Microsoft are bringing this to Linux!" We have that. We've had that for years. I think the one thing she told me recently, I'm getting very off topic here, but she's told me about Mono and .NET coming to Linux. I don't care. I'm not going to be installing Mono. End of. You know, I don't need Mono to make Netflix work anymore. Sorry. You know, last year would have been good. This year, don't need it. Sorry. And make a keyboard shortcut to show and hide the desktop, which we kind of have. I mean, sorry about that. I was getting a very dry throat. Too much talking, which I kind of have to do. It's a curse. But yeah. Well, I have a thing at the top of my screen, and you know, it's there. I click it, everything vanishes. It's a godsend. And I'm so sorry about that. I think I'm done. Okay. Normal service is now resumed. You know, I click it, all my windows vanish. It's great. And I don't think there's something that does that in Windows. Not something that comes out of the box. And that's right there out of the box in Ubuntu. So, yeah, I use that all the time. Literally a dozen times a day. Probably more. Probably a lot more, actually. Because I love that feature. It's cool. Okay. And next up, Microsoft are going to open source Halo's cloud backend, which sounds dirty. But yeah, I also think this is kind of cool. Apparently Halo's cloud backend is really, really good at connecting to lots of different sensors, which Microsoft are going to open source, and then you'll be able to use that. People will be able to use it for Internet of Things projects. If you've got like a house which has got loads of cameras, sensors, things in it, you know, you've got a Nest. You got a Nest device, maybe some remote cameras. It'll be cool because this Project Orleans will be able to connect to all of this, which I hate to say it because it comes from Microsoft, but I think that's cool. You know, I think that's very, very cool. Apparently it will be able to run social networks, and it can build relationships between things, which I think is cool. Sorry, I know that might piss off kind of like the militant Linux community, but not that the Linux community is militant, I mean the militant elements. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's really, really cool. They asked for community feedback on the tool, and they said the next step is to make all the code available on GitHub, so you'll be able to go to GitHub, grab it, use it for your project. I think it's cool. I really do. I actually have a couple of projects, well, one project lined up that maybe I'm going to use that code for. I'm definitely going to have a look at it, read through it, see what I can make of it, because I'm by no means a programmer, but I do like to tinker with code, and yeah, It's due out early 2015, so Microsoft still delivering those amazingly accurate, clinical, surgically precise dates when things get released. Well, we feel like it. If you don't like it, bah. And next up in Microsoft news, something I think is frankly hilarious. Ford has dumped Microsoft to run their in-car entertainment system for BlackBerry. My God, how much trouble are you in when a major car manufacturer chooses BlackBerry over your product? Oh my God, seriously. Apparently it has better voice recognition than Windows, and they can swipe screens. It has pinch and zoom, which apparently the Microsoft offering didn't have, and it will be able to connect to Apple devices better, which, how Windows, how Microsoft, how you don't do that well. Wow. It will be in the model year 2016. You will not be able to get an update. If you bought a Ford this year, you're stuck, because the hardware will not run the new OS. It's not good enough. So your upgrade is basically going to be a new car. Wow. How much suck is that? And the best part, the thing that got me, I was sat laughing when I read this. The reason they have switched from Microsoft to BlackBerry, yeah, I still can't believe that they went with BlackBerry. Out of everyone. You know, you have your Samsungs. You have so many manufacturers that you could have picked, and you went with BlackBerry? Wow. But yeah, apparently it was bad customer feedback. People saying it was crashy, laggy, not very good when you're in a car and you want things to move smoothly. Bad show, Microsoft. Bad show. And next up is... I hate the shaky camera. I will fix this in episode 2. I have a list this long of stuff to fix for episode 2. Facebook have dumped Microsoft Search. Again, wow. Because Microsoft owns a share of Facebook. And Facebook just basically went to Microsoft. Yeah. And for those listening on the podcast, I stuck my middle finger in the air. Because that's what Zuckerberg's done to Microsoft. They've dumped Bing search results in favour of their own internal search, because according to their search engineers, they have a bigger database than any search engine, because they have over 1 trillion posts, which doesn't sound a lot. I mean, think about it. 1 trillion posts. I would wager there's more than 1 trillion pages on the internet. And Amazon? You know, any other shop? You know, all the shops where the catalogues, each item has 1 page, and Facebook thinks that is less than 1 trillion. I don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see it. Apparently, Facebook stopped using. Well, okay, earlier to this. In 2007, I believe, Microsoft gave Facebook an injection of cash, and part of the deal was that they would use Microsoft banner ads, and that lasted 3 years, and then they just said, nope, not doing it. Sorry. And Zuckerberg has come out and said that they're still working with Microsoft, and that they have exciting projects that they're doing with Microsoft. Just not search or advertising, you know, 2 like really big fields. at the moment, right now. The two you'd kind of want to be in right now. Just saying. Just saying is all. This one is just... it's horrible. And Canada has banned immigration rules for Microsoft. I can hear the sounds of maple trees being burned in protest. Microsoft Canada have been allowed to bring in an unspecified number of immigrants as trainees without offering the jobs to Canadians first, which apparently is against Canadian law. Wow. And the government just went, yeah, okay, go, do it. The Canadian government said it's because Microsoft will be bringing significant training and investment. And apparently other tech companies went, so will we. But you still told us we had to offer it to Canadians first. So yeah, it's just staggering to me. To me, it's how is that a thing? That Microsoft can go, yeah, but money, but training, and the Canadian government go, okay, go, bring as many as you like in. We don't care, because you're going to give us money, right? I mean, to the economy, not to us. I am insinuating. I am not saying that is what happened. It's a possibility. It could have happened. They could have offered them marshmallows, and the president of Canada maybe really likes marshmallows. Who knows? Maybe the Canadian president just misheard. And the last thing in Microsoft news is that Microsoft are now accepting bitcoins. Yeah, you can buy shit in the Xbox store, marketplace, bazaar, gathering. I don't know. Whatever it's called, I don't know. I have never owned an Xbox, but where you can buy shit, Microsoft Xbox shit, it will take bitcoins if it's on their platform, and you can pay for Windows shit with bitcoins, which is fabulous, and it's what I've always dreamed of. I'm sure people with bitcoins that run Windows, I'm sure those 5 people will be very happy. It is what it is. Now, do you remember I was talking about the $6,000 Android phone? Well, as an opener to our Apple news, you can buy a $30,000 Apple Watch band. 30,000. I even checked that number was correct. It is. Mervis Diamonds are taking pre-orders for an 18 karat gold strap, 15.14 karat diamond Apple Watch band for $30,000. Why? You know it's going to be buggy as hell, and the Apple Watch Band 2 will be much better. And you're going to spend $30,000 on a buggy piece of crap. Yeah. But apparently the base price of the Apple Watch Band will be $350, which seems a lot to me. And there's rumours of a $1,000 steel and sapphire version and a $5,000. Yeah, $5,000. I would spend the extra $1,000 and get the Android phone. For a gold and sapphire version, which will apparently actually be made of gold. And apparently the app is rumoured to be out on Valentine's Day. And this version, the $30,000 version will be available from June 2015 because it takes a long time to glue diamonds onto gold. Apparently. Who knew? Apparently they think they're going to be getting a lot of orders for this. I'm sure Kim Kardashian and Kanye West will both have one. Probably with a little K engraved on it. Okay, so next up on the Apple news, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus is still not able to meet supply and demand. Apparently 45% more people want an iPhone 6 or 6 Plus than Apple stores actually have, which staggers me. Really, it does. And analysts have said they don't know when Apple will hit 100% availability, but it's believed to be in January. Oh, I'm sorry, I am an Apple hater. I have tried iPhones. My wife has an iPhone. It's the perfect storm for me. She uses Windows and she has an iPhone. But yeah, she likes it. She finds it easy to use. I can never use the goddamn thing. I hate it with vengeance and fire and every bone in my body. But yeah, apparently 45% more people want one than Apple actually have. Whatever. I'm sticking with my Moto G. It's a damn good phone and it didn't cost much. And it works and it's getting lollipops, so. Okay, next up. The iPod antitrust case against Apple turns on a 2006 update being an improvement or not. I read this. This was really interesting. Apparently, and I didn't know this, iTunes 7 blocked third-party MP3 players, which is a dick move from Apple, but that's what you get if you use Apple stuff. I'm an Apple hater. Sorry. Not sorry. Apple claims that the update to block third-party MP3 players was needed to improve security. Of course it was. They own them and their team of geniuses. They could not do this any other way than blocking all other MP3 players that were not iPods. Okay. Whatever you say. The update added the ability to play video and browse through the cover art through CoverFlow. CoverFlow's cool. I like CoverFlow. Again, there are things Microsoft do and I think they're cool. Cortana looks interesting. I love the new Microsoft ad actually with Cortana talking to Siri. I think that's hilarious. And there's things Apple do which I think are cool. I think HealthKit sounds very interesting. I think that the big all-in-one I forget what they're called. The big all-in-one desktop Macs, they are beautiful. They're amazing. Ridiculously overpriced, but they look good. You can't deny that. The counterclaim is that it stopped customers having a choice in software, which I agree with. It was dumb and a dick move. And I read about this today when I was putting the show notes together, and apparently during the case Apple brought in an amateur ice skater, named her the face of the case, and she claims that the iPod had helped her skate backwards. Really? Did it? What? Did you try a Zune and ended up moonwalking? So then you went back to your iPod and you could flawlessly skate backwards. Really? Really, 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 really. Ugh. And in other legal news, a New York court are weighing up Apple and Amazon's ebook arguments. Apple claim that when Amazon set ebook prices to $9.99 or lower, it was too good for customers to turn down. Have Apple been to a bookshop? I'm just saying. Books that come out in hardback, round about £10. They are positioning themselves as the good guys that rode in to save the publishers from not making enough money, and that they broke the Amazon monopoly that the evil Amazon had established, and that the publishers were actually relieved. I swear to God, like maybe a third of Apple employees must be lawyers. You know, because it's just sort of like they have so many legal disputes, and there's sort of like lawyers everywhere. Apparently, Amazon won the case in 2013 after US District Judge Denise Coate ruled that Apple, the good guys in this, remember, because they saved the publishers, they colluded with self-same publishers to raise the price of ebooks. How is that a good thing for customers? I mean, I get that Apple seem to think expensive equals good. Actually make that many improvements to our iPhone and it's still going to cost you $600 if you want to buy it off contract. But this is for you guys! Okay. Okay, and that's the end of the song, except for our Song of the Week, which is This Is How We Stand by Merva. So, if you enjoyed today's show, leave a comment down below, or subscribe and comment. If you hated the show, leave a comment down below. Probably don't subscribe, because although this is my first show and I'm gonna try and make things better, because I know I've fucked up a lot, and don't complain about the swearing because I am a sweary person and this is me being reserved with my swearing. Yeah, I just wanted to get a podcast out today. It's an idea I've had for a long time. I've really wanted to make a Linux podcast that isn't about Ubuntu or Debian or whatever. That we just cover all Linux things. Next week, which is probably going to be early because of Christmas, I'm probably thinking maybe Monday or Tuesday. But Wednesdays are probably going to be the regular day. Tuesday or Wednesday is probably going to be the regular day for the Linux shelter. And I may do live ones, I'm not sure. It's all very up in the air. Let me know. Let me know what you want. And this is a two-way thing. This is a conversation. Yeah. So, Wednesdays or Tuesdays, I think. Yeah, we're gonna cover distros as well. Basically going to go onto Distro Watch, pull the new releases, run them in a VM. Thinking of doing broadcasting of that. I know Hangouts on Air has a very cool thing where I can show my desktop, which is going to be very awesome. I think that's going to be cool to just flick into the VM. And, you know, I think that'll work. I think you will like that, and I will like that, and you can actually see the distro running. Maybe not so good for the podcast, but watch the YouTube channel. Yeah, so leave a comment either on the blog where you can get the podcast, sign up to our RSS feed, sign up to whichever podcatcher you love. We're hoping to get listed in iTunes. That would be very cool too, for all the hipsters, so they can listen to how much I don't like them. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go now. I will leave you with Merva, This Is How We Stand. It's a Creative Commons track. You can get it from Jamendo. The link will be in the show notes or in the description down there if you're watching on YouTube. And I will see you next week, probably on Tuesday, because Christmas is a coming. Bye.